Hello friends, this is Dr. Amishri Yagnik and welcome to my channel Dr. Yagnik's Physiology Hub. Today we are going to study about Introduction to the Nervous System. So let's begin. Introduction to Nervous System. Nervous system is the major control system of the body other than endocrine system. Mainly it deals with conduction of impulses. Primarily it is divided in two parts, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Now I would like to ask over here is that what is the main function of nervous system? Okay, the main function of nervous system is to collect the information, all sort of information, not just from within the body, also from the surrounding. So all the sort of information from your surrounding environment as well as from the body, they are being carried to your brain, and in the brain they will be processed, and accordingly the response will develop. So this is the major function of the nervous system. So it is also a control system and it also deals with the conduction of impulses. Okay, next, here this is the brain and this is the spinal cord. So these two comprises of central nervous system. Okay, peripheral nervous system will deal with the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. Mostly they deal with the sensory inputs. Okay, now central nervous system, it consists of two parts. One is brain and another one is the spinal cord. It is formed by neurons and supporting cells called neuroglial cells. Neurons, they are the structural and functional unit of the central nervous system, right? They are useful for the conduction of the impulses. They conduct impulses. Neurons main function is the conduction of the impulses, while the neuroglial cells, they are non-conducting cells. They do not conduct any sort of impulses. They are non-neuronal cells. I have prepared a special lecture on neuroglial cells. If you like to know more about the neuroglial cells, you can go and watch that video. Now, structures of brain and spinal cord are arranged in two layers, namely the gray matter and white matter. We all have heard so much so about gray matter and white matter, right? Now, what is this gray matter and what is this white matter exactly? So, see, over here, this is the image of the neuron. Okay, so this part is known as the nerve cell body. It consists of the nucleus, and the rest part, it is known as axon or the axonal end. Similarly, over here also, see, this is a nerve cell body. It consists of the nucleus, and the entire part is known as the axon and the axonal end, right? Now all this part, when get together, when lots of neurons get together, they will comprise to the gray matter. Because of the nucleus, it appears dark and appears grayish in color. So this, all the bunches of the neurons, nerve cell body, they will constitute to the gray matter, while all this part, the axonal part or axon or a tail portion, they will constitute to the white matter. I hope I am clear over here. Once again, see, this part is known as nerve cell body. It consists of nucleus. When lots of neurons are together, the upper portion, this is a nerve cell bodies together, will comprise to the gray matter, and this lower portion will comprise to the white matter. Gray matter is formed by cell bodies and white matter is formed by axons and axonal ends. In brain, white matter is placed in the inner part and gray matter is placed in the outer part. In spinal cord, white matter is in the outer part and gray matter is in the inner part. Brain is situated in the skull and continue as spinal cord in vertebral column through the foramen magnum of skull. It is the largest foramen of the skull, okay, through which it will continue as the spinal cord. See, this is white matter and this is gray matter. We all know now what is gray matter and what is white matter. So in brain, the gray matter is on the outer side and white matter is on the inner side. And while in spinal cord, it is reverse. This white matter will be on the outer side and gray matter is on the inner side. Okay. Now this is the foramen magnum, through which the brain will continue as a spinal cord. Okay. Fine. Now, brain and spinal cord are surrounded by 3 layers of meninges called the outer dura mater, middle arachnoid matter and inner pia mater. You should know the name of 3 matters. Okay, that is important from the viva point of view. What are the 3 layers of meninges called? Outer dura mater, middle arachnoid mater and inner pia mater. The space between the arachnoid mater and pia mater is known as subarachnoid space. This space is filled with a fluid called cerebrospinal fluid. This is very important, where the cerebrospinal fluid is located. So it is present in the subarachnoid space. The brain and spinal cord are actually suspended in the cerebrospinal fluid. CSF is very important for the brain and spinal cord. Fine. These are the 3 layers of the meninges. First one is the dura mater, that is the outer one, arachnoid mater, that is the middle one, and this is the subarachnoid space, right? And here the most inner one is the pia mater, and this part is the brain and this part is the skull. I hope this is clear, the 3 layers of the meninges. This is very important from the clinical point of view, because any sort of infection in this meningeal layer, it could lead to the meningitis. That is one of the condition which can even lead to the death or complicated state. Now let's study the parts of brain. We all know about forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain, right? So the frontal part of the brain is known as forebrain, and its ancient name is the prosencephalon. Similarly, the midbrain, its another name is mesencephalon, and hindbrain is also known as rhombencephalon. Okay. Furthermore, the forebrain is divided in 2 parts, that is telencephalon and diencephalon. Telencephalon comprises of cerebral hemisphere, basal ganglia, hippocampus, amygdaloid nucleus, and diencephalon comprises of thalamus, hypothalamus, metathalamus, subthalamus. Okay, going ahead with the hindbrain. Hindbrain consists of the metencephalon, myelencephalon. Metencephalon is comprising of pons and cerebellum, while myelencephalon is another name of the medulla oblongata. Now here the medulla oblongata, pons and midbrain, they all together form the brain stem. See here, this one is the forebrain, right? We know it consists of the cerebral hemispheres, right? Then this one is the midbrain, which comprises of the hypothalamus, thalamus, subthalamus, metathalamus are not visible over here, and this one is the hindbrain. So this part is the cerebellum, pons, medulla and midbrain. Pons, medulla and midbrain, they are together known as the brain stem. Okay, now what are the functions of parts of brain? We are studying it here in very brief, so you can know the functions in a brief. Forebrain plays a central role in the processing of information related to the complex cognitive activities, sensory functions and voluntary motor activities. What is cognitive activities? That is related to the memory. Okay. So cognitive activities, sensory functions and voluntary motor activities, they are controlled and processed by the forebrain. Now what is the function of the midbrain? Midbrain serves function in the movement of the eye and in auditory and visual processing. Movement of eye and hearing as well as seeing is done with the help of the midbrain. Hindbrain is associated with the functions of respiratory rhythm, motor activity, sleep and wakefulness. So brainstem plays very important role. It is useful with the respiratory rhythm, motor activity, sleep and wakefulness. Now going ahead with the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system mainly deals with the cranial nerves that arises from the brain and spinal nerves that arises from the spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system is again divided into two subdivisions. One is autonomic nervous system and another one is the somatic nervous system. Okay. Autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system deals mainly with the involuntary functions of body that is related to the viscera or organs, for example heart, lungs, kidney, etc. Its name itself suggests that it is dealing with the automatic function, the functions on which we do not have any sort of the voluntary control. You can't control your heartbeat, you can't control your breathing activities, you can't control the function of the kidneys, right? So all that are under the autonomic nervous system. It is further divided into two parts, sympathetic system and parasympathetic system. Sympathetic system is the excitatory system and parasympathetic is the inhibitory system. Means if you see the dog running behind yourself, your heartbeat will start to increase. That is the sympathetic system, because of the sympathetic system. And now after running, when you just sit calmly and your heartbeat comes down, that is because of the parasympathetic system, and that is inhibitory function. Altogether maintains the normal homeostasis of the body, that is to maintain all the functions of the body in balance. What is homeostasis? So it is like maintaining your internal harmony of the body. Everything is under control. Heart beats at its own space, your breathing is at its own normal speed, then your digestion is taking place normally. Okay, your temperature is getting regulated according to your surrounding environment. All these things, they are part of the homeostasis. Now somatic nervous system, it mainly deals with the voluntary functions of body, that is skeletal muscle, muscular activities and movement of the body. Say for example, if you want to raise your hand, you can raise your hand. You want to run, you want to walk, all these things. Or if you don't want to walk or sit down, all these things are under your control. So that all are under the somatic nervous system. Okay, muscular activities and the movement of your body. Now here is the summary. CNS comprises of what? Brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system comprises of what? Autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is further divided into sympathetic system and parasympathetic system. Thanks for watching this video. If I hope you like it, so please do like, subscribe, comment. Okay, and if you have any sort of feedbacks, then you can let me know. Thank you.